here with Mr. Sunshine.
No, it's Mr. Freaking Ray of Sunshine.
And we're here talking about, have you ever heard the greatest marriage advice ever? Do not let the sun go down on your anger. Is that really the greatest marriage advice?
Is it? Is it?
Stay tuned to this video because that's what we're going to discuss.
That's right. I'm Jay. This is Christa, my better half, and we're with Say I Do Forever. And if you like this video or if you want to see more, hit subscribe, follow us along, give us a like, ring the bell, and you get to see more of our fun advice, antics, our videos that,
And you can hang out with Mr. Sunshine.
That's right.
3 times a week.
That's right.
4 times a week.
That's right. 4. Including Saturdays.
Yes.
Where we relax.
So here on Wednesdays, we talk about hot topics. So
Happy Wednesday, by the way.
I have heard, and everybody has heard, do not let the sun go down on your anger. And
not to get confused with Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me by Elton John and George Michaels. So let's separate that.
But I want to hear in the comments if you guys have heard that advice, if it works for you. It didn't always work so great for us.
No. And tell them why.
Well, number one, you're tired, and I'm not a night person. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and I am.
Yeah, so he's got all the energy in the world.
Let's talk about it.
His brain
She's
is
like, I'm tired.
firing at full speed.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm like emotional, and I want my mama.
Yeah, this is not going very well,
Yeah, so we've stayed up. I don't know if you guys have. Early in our marriage, in the first few years, we did stay up late and fought it out. And it'd be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and we were still fighting.
It was ridiculous.
And I don't think that's such a great idea, because then there's times when we went to bed, and the next day I woke up and I actually had my brain back, and the item that we were fighting over didn't seem as big.
Right.
Or I realized the next day that it really wasn't about what we were fighting about. It was about something totally deeper and different.
Yeah.
So let's find out, where does this marriage advice come from? And is it good or is it bad? It may have worked out for you in your marriage. Tell us about that in the comments, because for some people it may work. For many others, it doesn't work and they can't figure out why. You will actually find this in the Bible. It's in Ephesians chapter 4, and it is in verse 26. In your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. The thing is, they took one verse and they pulled it out and
turned it into advice.
But the entire contents, it's actually a good advice. The whole contents is how to live as a better person, as a better Christian, to not let the bitterness pile up, and to forgive. And because the truth is, if you're hurt and you're super angry and you go to bed, the chances are that that's going to pile up and become bitterness or hardness.
It's going to fester. It's going to build. The more you suppress it, the deeper it gets and the worse it gets.
Yeah. So on that, it is good advice. What it's basically saying is, don't let this turn into something that you just kind of leave deep and buried, and you bury it deeper and you add more hurt to it and you just keep burying it.
Yeah.
It's basically saying to learn how to forgive quickly, to learn how to let stuff roll off your back. It's also talking about bitterness. Get rid of all bitterness, rage and anger, brawling and slander, along with every kind of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as Christ, God, forgave you. And I mean, if you are going to take a verse of the Bible, you have to take at least, at the very minimum, 10 verses above it, 10 verses below it, even into other chapters, because the Bible was not written with chapters. The Bible actually, the chapters were added later. So even when you go from 4 to 5, it actually continues the thought. It's one continuous thought. So make sure that anytime you have advice, especially if it's from the Bible, take it as a whole and realize that it's more about not burying all your bitterness.
Yeah, because it's not healthy. It's not good for you because then your health is going to suffer. It's not good for your spouse because then that's going to waver your marriage. It's going to create issues. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
But,
So
there are some times at night you just don't want to fight that out till the middle of the night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We usually, if we have any, which we haven't had any big fights.
No, we need to have one so we can remember what it's like.
No, we don't need to have any big fights.
No, I think...
No, but today's deal is about fighting fair. It's a hot topic. We feel it's a hot topic, and we're going to explain to you how we deal with fighting fair, and hopefully that will help you guys fight fair.
Yeah. Well, and what are some of the elements of fighting fair?
There is no belittling. So when you're in an argument, you don't tear your spouse
Even if you're
down.
super mad at them, and they're the biggest idiot in the world, just don't tell them that.
Yeah, you don't belittle your spouse.
No.
All that does is make the wedge between you grow, and it's just, there's this big canyon then suddenly between you guys, instead of working together to remedy the situation. And it's probably the argument you're having probably started out with about something stupid and something small and minute, not a massive big deal, but it's gotten to be that big deal because if you belittle each other, it just builds and it escalates. No one wants to be belittled, right?
Yeah, yeah. Belittling, name calling.
Yeah.
Don't turn a silly argument over dinner or over what TV show to watch or over whether the trash got taken out into a big hurtful thing that you'll have to repair down the road.
Yeah, a long time ago, I figured out how to make Christa laugh instead of argue.
I thought you were going to say one of my buttons.
I would say, no. No, I would say, you are so hot when you're angry. And it would get her to giggle, and she would just start laughing, and it would help us. Believe it or not, as far as, at least for us, it...
Stop where you're at and rethink what's going on.
And then it would take her back, and she wouldn't be prepared for that comment. And, then we could proceed with rationally talking about the problem that we're talking about.
Yeah, because it is important to have good discussions, and sometimes those discussions can become heated, especially if it's in a topic that one spouse or the other is very passionate about or it's important. So that's the other thing is one spouse might find certain things very important.
Yeah.
And the other spouse may think they're silly. It has to do with their love language, their money language, has to do with how they were raised.
Yeah.
If they had any abuse, there might be some triggers that the other spouse thinks this is the silliest thing.
Yeah.
But you need to stop and think about your spouse and think about why is it that they're so upset about something so silly.
Yeah.
It might have been something from the past that somebody said to them, or some hurt that they've been harboring that they should have forgiven and let go. But we all have those little stew pockets that we've been stewing on, and you can burst one of those. So also some important things, not getting physical.
Yeah, that's a huge no-no.
Yeah.
Hands off when you're angry. You don't do any kind of physical harm to your spouse. Especially the husbands, not lay one hand in anger on your wife.
And
At
same with
all.
wives.
Yeah.
There's some wives that are very physical, and the husband is trying his best to hold back some of his physical anger, and that's female spouse. So you got to learn to control that and have arguments that are not full blown drag out fights.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've had some pretty big ones, but I usually just, used to, I don't anymore, when I was early on, because I grew up in a home that was full of rage. So I have thrown a few remotes his direction, and
I got ninja reflexes.
and phones, and but that
Good
was
thing I played video games as a little kid.
that was early on, because I did come from a home that had a lot of that, and so I brought that with me. But I had to heal from that. I had to learn from that, and that doesn't happen anymore because I've done a lot of healing. But anything physical and actually verbal is actually abuse.
Yep.
You don't want to turn an argument. Arguments are normal. If you're arguing with your spouse, that's a normal thing. Every couple argues, because you're taking two totally different personalities and you're putting them together in one home, two different habits,
right?
All of that kind of stuff, like the toothpaste.
The toothpaste is very important, and we still fight about the toothpaste. I'm just saying.
So
Christa gets a toothpaste in the morning. She brushes her teeth in the morning, and just me. Old hand
and a quick little
get it, and you just
it's all in the wrist,
and voila, it's all good, it's all clean. You don't have this mashed, smushed toothpaste blah everywhere, and we still have to deal with that to this day. But what do I do now? I just
get a
roll
new tube.
the toothpaste up. Yeah, get a new tube. Yeah, may as well.
I think
Well, then I clean all the ends, I get it all nice, and I put it back in there.
Which is funny, because I'm the perfectionist.
Yeah, go figure.
But I grew up.
She'd have been the one, and I would have been the.
I grew up in a big family, and you were lucky to get in the bathroom at all. So you got in, you got out, and you brushed your teeth, and you threw the tube to the side, and you ran out the door.
That is funny.
So, and I don't have time in the morning, but so those are our
funny.
little quirks. But hey,
anymore it's just stupid little stuff like that, and it doesn't really bother us. We just have fun with it anymore.
Yeah, now it's funny.
Yeah, it's just like you just shake your head.
Yeah,
really.
When it really upset him, he went to us having separate tubes. That helped.
Yeah, that really did work, but. Then you got to pay twice the price every time you go to the grocery store. It was like, this is not cost effective. We'll just, I'll just keep rolling the one.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So if we can still be married, you can still be married.
Absolutely.
So, don't, we already discussed this, but do not fight when you're tired.
Yep.
Do not fight when you're hungry.
When you're tired, you're not thinking straight. You say stupid stuff. You say mean things. You say things you can't take back.
Mm-hmm.
The spouse will always remember them.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be...
Once it's out, it's out.
Yeah, you need to be slow to speak. You need to be quick to listen.
Mm-hmm.
That's James 1:9. James 1:19. Slow to speak, quick to listen. That speaks volumes, because, if you just let them speak first, just wait, let them get off their chest what they want to talk or say, and then you can, react however you're going to react. Hopefully it's a good reaction, and then logically argue your point instead of, getting all bent out of shape and throwing stuff, and it's not worth it.
Well, Proverbs 29:11 says, "A fool vents all his anger, but a wise man holds, I think it's his tongue," something like that. So there are so many proverbs that help you listen more, speak less, keep your anger under control. There's some stuff you need to argue out. As a married couple, there are things that are important. and it needs to be more of a discussion. However, that doesn't always happen. Sometimes there's some heated stuff, and something's important. Like for us, a long time ago, it used to always be about money, and I had some important things that I felt like we needed to do, and he had some important things that he felt like were important to him.
Yeah.
And we were pretty heated about trying to, we wanted
do it our way.
Yeah, and you're trying to, as a married couple, you have to go down the same road, and you're it's like your horses tied together.
Yep.
And if you're both trying to go different ways, but you're tied together, you're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out how to gallop together and to go for the same thing, but yet you have to be able to get both of you to get what you want.
Yeah, you need to get on the same page.
Or a compromise.
Yeah, you need to get on the same page.
Yeah. So if there's something important that you need to discuss, then find a time when you're not hungry, that you're not tired. It hasn't been after a long day at work or a long week. It's not right before the in-laws come or right after the in-laws left. Just find a good time that you can sit down and really discuss things. Your schedules too. I'm a morning person, but I don't want to discuss deep things too early in the morning because I'm getting my brain together, and I'm not a late person. So I'm like mid-morning, afternoon is my prime time. So, what's your prime time?
Oh, evening.
Evening.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
So maybe like late afternoon would be our time, or, something like that. Like on the weekend when we didn't have any responsibilities.
Yeah. I think we used to discuss things either before I left for work, and then also in the afternoon, like when I got home from work.
If it wasn't
before
too
dinner,
hard of a day.
Yeah. Before dinner or during dinner or whatever.
Before work is a hard time too, because if you don't finish it off and you got to take off for work.
Yeah, then you spend the whole day dwelling on it.
Yeah, that's not a good time.
If it's a big deal, you probably need to wait till the spouse comes home and then talk about it. But if it's just something stupid and you realize it was stupid when you wake up and you go apologize and say, you know what, this was stupid. I apologize. We need to just come to a compromise and settle it that way. So.
Yeah. Well, and what else what is some plain fair?
Some fair fighting also is not using you statements like, you never listen, you never do this, you never do that, you always are late, you always, you just keep throwing darts, and that's not healthy. That is not healthy.
Yeah, and you were saying earlier I statements, but you're supposed to use I statement like, I feel
in a positive way.
Yeah, like I feel sad when you come home late and you hadn't told me where you were going and I was sitting here waiting. You want to say it softly and like, this is how I felt when this happened. Not, you always come late, Yeah.
So what I hear you saying is, you feel bad when I don't tell you that I'm going to come home late.
Yes. Bingo. So what he did right there is reflective listening. That's another thing, is reflective listening.
That's right.
When a spouse comes to you, and hopefully they have come to you in a very caring way, but they're trying to tell you what's hurt them or what is hard for them, you need to stop and listen to what they're saying, because they're trying to say it lovingly, and listen to that. And then you turn around and you repeat what you heard them say. Not word for word, but what you heard them say as a whole.
You reflect it back.
You reflect it back.
You don't have to be like every word perfect and exactly what they just said, because then you're just patronizing them.
You're being a parrot.
Yeah.
I want a cracker.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
oh boy.
But yeah, you want to kind of say what you heard,
right?
Or what and you're going to see it through your rose-colored glasses or your lenses, and you may repeat it back to them, and it may not be at all what they said, because we hear things through a filter, and they say things and may not be good at communicating what that is. So when you reflect it back to them, they have a chance to say, no, that's not what I was saying at all, and they have a chance to reword it so that you understood what they said, not just what you heard them say.
Yeah, one time we went to a Gary Smalley marriage conference in Boise, and he had a couple up there, and they tried to do the reflective listening, and the husband just wasn't getting it.
It was a mess.
Oh yeah, the wife said something, and the husband completely said something. It wasn't even remotely close to what she just said. And Gary Smalley just started busting up laughing, and he goes, well, let's try this again. And he tried it again, and he still couldn't get it. And so then Gary told him, I need to talk to you guys after this is over. and then he was like trying to explain to them how to do reflective listening.
Yeah.
Oh, but I mean, if you can understand and do reflective listening, it's worth its weight in gold, because then your spouse will see that you are truly listening to what they're saying, especially when you're arguing. Then it'll take it down a notch, and then another notch, another notch, another notch, and then it's here. Then you're at the calm zone.
Yeah, and I would say the other thing is to listen deeper than just their words.
Yeah.
Listen to their heart.
Yep.
Listen to their hurt. What is it? Why are they so upset with the toothpaste being squishy?
We know why. Because it's messy. No one wants that mess all over the place. Then it gets stuck to your hand, and then you gotta wash it off, and you're
what
like,
was your relationship like with your mother?
It was good. Notice the toothpaste is always clean.
No, this must go deeper. You have a childhood hurt.
I don't have a childhood hurt. I just like the toothpaste rolled up nice and neat.
We laugh. But on some issues, there is like an underlining issue to why they freak out when little things happen. This is not the case with the toothpaste. This is just our stupid argument that we just have kept for 33 years. And you know what? We wouldn't be the same without it.
No.
That's ours.
I just don't worry about it anymore. I just clean it, take care of it. It's like feeding the dog or feeding the cat. You know, I just take care of it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think it just all boils down to really, truly loving your spouse enough not to open your mouth when you shouldn't open your mouth. You know, say hurtful things.
Right.
Just love your spouse so much. And then when you accidentally do, ask for forgiveness and say, I didn't mean to say that. That just came out of anger and that wasn't true. I'm so sorry. Be quick to forgive. And the whole thing about don't let the sun go down on your anger. In other words, don't tuck it in deep. Don't tuck the hurt in deep.
All it's going to do is build, and then it's going to blow up.
Yeah, but you are allowed to, in the heat of it, say, you know, we need to take a break. Let's go to bed and let's talk about this first thing in the morning.
Yep.
When we both can think. Or maybe yours is that you're not a morning person and you're arguing about it and you have to go to work and just say, I love you very much, but I'm really angry right now. And we need to probably discuss this when we can sit down right after work.
I agree.
Patronizing me.
I love you.
You're cheesy.
Everybody who knows me knows I'm cheesy.
Yes. And yet I'm still married to you.
I know. It's awesome.
But anyway, I hope some of that helped. I hope you realize that just because you're fighting into the night and you can't resolve it, you are allowed to go to bed. If it has worked in your marriage and not going to bed angry has helped, keep doing it. Do what works.
Yep.
But don't worry if you fought into the night and it just got worse. Why don't you just go get some sleep, get something to eat, a good breakfast in the morning, come back together and try it again.
Absolutely.
And do it with grace, forgiveness, love, and understanding.
Yeah, and go back, like I've said in the past videos, just go back to the reason why you ended up with your spouse in the first place. You know, what drew you to them. You know, think about the funny times you guys have had. Think about the goofy times. Think about the great times. Think about all the loving times. You know, you start to think about all the positive things about your spouse. You'll kind of just chill out and just, you know, have a level, decent argument. It doesn't have to be World War III. It doesn't.
You don't have to throw out your marriage because of bad toothpaste.
Nope.
No.
No, you don't have to throw it.
So,
I will never live this toothpaste thing down.
No, I will never live it down. But
No, the teasing, I will never live down.
The teasing.
Yeah.
So with that, now we're going to have to work out this issue. But we're going to take a nap and then we'll come back and discuss
then we're
this.
going to talk about the toothpaste.
Yes. So with that, from our beautiful marriage to yours, this is Jay and Krista helping you say I do forever.
See you
We
guys.
love you guys.